This is the book I recommend to anyone who's trying to improve their fertility. It's also for all of you who have emailed me about your recent results that showed low AMH, which is a hormonal indicator that shows us your ovarian reserve. You may not be able to change the number of eggs you have, but you can certainly affect the quality of eggs that you have. And so for me, after 3 losses in less than 12 months, I also got those test results that said my ovarian reserve was not good, and I was devastated. At first, I assumed it meant I would never have another healthy baby, but after taking a break and focusing on getting healthy just for healthy sake, I can now happily tell you that my very next pregnancy is our healthy 6-year-old boy, Luca. So in today's video, I want to go through the 3 main takeaways that Rebecca Fett shares. We'll also have a look at what the research says and the practical strategies that she recommends so you can get started actioning this stuff today. So the main focus of this book is how environmental factors, how lifestyle, and how diet affect the fertility of both men and women. Fett herself has a degree in molecular biology and biochemistry, and she herself was diagnosed with low ovarian reserve when she was only 27. And because she couldn't accept this idea that there was nothing she could do to impact the quality of her eggs, she pored over research following this diagnosis. And what she found, she shares in the book. So she shares that there are lots of things we can practically do to impact the quality of our eggs through our diet, through the chemicals that we interact with, also the supplements we take. I want to interrupt this video here and just say none of this is an invitation for you to get completely obsessed with cutting out all toxins in your life, trying to make your partner make all these changes as well, and trying to be perfect with every meal. That is not what this is about. This is not me recommending you try and aim for perfection. Trust me, I've been there, I tried to do it, and all it led to was feeling more stressed and miserable than ever. You don't need to quit everything that you enjoy. So I'm looking at you, that single glass of wine or that cup of coffee a day. You don't need to get rid of everything in your life that you enjoy because somewhere in some study, it has been linked to reduced fertility. Make the changes that you can that fit within your lifestyle, that work for you, and let the others lie. We need to remember that stress as well is a huge factor in fertility. So it's always going to be a balance between keeping your stress levels in check and keeping those other things that are important for fertility in balance as well. So don't aim for perfection in any of these changes. If you're starting to feel stressed, take a breath, maybe practice some yoga with me, make the changes you can slowly, and don't expect perfection from yourself or from anyone around you. All right, so now that we have that out of the way, let's go further into detail into these 3 areas. So reducing your chemical load, improving your nutrition, and also using supplements to increase your fertility. So the first recommendation that Fett makes is decreasing your exposure into toxins in your environment. She refers to one study that was published in Human Reproduction that found that higher urinary levels of phthalates were associated with decreased embryo quality and implantation in IVF trials. And phthalates are the toxins that are found in so many everyday products. So things like the plastic that you use and heat your food in, the makeup that you put on every morning, the soap you use to wash your body, what you wash your clothes in, the types of materials that you wear. So many of the things in our home have these toxins in them. So Fett recommends some specific things like changing your plastics to glass and reheating your food in glass or stainless steel rather than plastic. Changing your body products to more natural alternatives. And using natural options to clean your home. So things like vinegar and bicarb soda rather than those chemical sprays that we can buy in the cleaning section. And I remember when I first read this feeling completely overwhelmed by all the changes that I had to make to improve my fertility. It felt overwhelming to make all of these changes at once. And so I want to remind you, you don't have to do it all at once. We can inch our way towards better options. So for instance, maybe your first project is switching to glass Tupperware containers. And then as your makeup runs out, perhaps you look for alternatives then. You don't have to get rid of all your makeup or all your body products all at once, which can be super expensive. I always found it helpful to think if you wouldn't eat it, Do you want to be putting that on your skins? Because we know that that is being ingested into our body. Our skin absorbs the things we put onto it. And that's another great option if you are finding these natural alternatives really expensive. Remember, you can use things from your pantry. So I love oils as an alternative to moisturizer. So things like almond oil and coconut oil and macadamia oil work as really great moisturizers. They're so much more inexpensive than when you buy them from a health food store or when they're mixed into a beauty product. And just a few other toxins to keep an eye out for. Dishwashing tablets. These have huge warning labels on them for our children. If they eat them, they get very sick. And yet we wash our dishes with them that we then go and eat off. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Washing detergent that you wash your clothes in, perfumes, nail polish, hair dye. All of these things have chemicals in them and all of them have more natural options. So Fett also stresses the importance of a nutrient-rich diet. So some of the specific things she talks about is consuming lots of antioxidants, omega-3 fatty acids, vitamins such as folate, vitamin D, and vitamin C, and coenzyme Q10. Of course, the book goes into way more detail than I'm going to be able to do in this short little video, so highly recommend going and reading it for yourself. But let's go through a few of these supplements, what they do for your body and how it impacts your fertility. So these nutrients are important to reduce oxidative stress, which is a fancy way of saying the body's ability to balance the level of antioxidants in the body and its ability to detox, all of which has been shown to impact egg quality. These nutrients also support hormonal balance, help to reduce inflammation, and also help to improve healthy egg development. So to make these changes for yourself, you want to focus on eating lots of antioxidants. So think things like berries, dark leafy green vegetables, broccoli, plums, etc. And of course, because Fett is so focused on research and that is her background, she goes into detail in her book about those studies that have linked higher antioxidant levels and higher nutrient levels that we've spoken about with improve fertility outcomes for those women going through IVF. And just in case you're wondering why so many of these studies are on IVF patients, it's just typically where the research is done. More women and doctors are involved in those studies in the IVF space than those women who are naturally conceiving. In particular, one study that was published in Human Reproduction found that higher levels of omega-3s, which are coming from things like oily fish and flax seeds, etc., also improved embryo quality for those women who are going through IVF procedures. Where possible, I would recommend getting these nutrients from whole foods. Of course, it's not always going to be possible depending on where you live, the food that you have access to, even what you like to eat. Nature has done this really great job of delivering us these foods and these nutrients in packages as our body is designed to ingest them. So they come with the fiber, the water content, all of those sorts of things that our body needs to process them effectively. Yes, supplementation can be really helpful to fill in those gaps, but where you can, it's really important to try and eat as many of these nutrients in their whole real food form. Make sure that you're feeding your body really well and effectively feeding your fertility as well. And then lastly, Fett recommends using supplementation to fill in those gaps of those nutrients that you need and refers to lots of research that has shown really positive outcomes for increasing egg quality and overall fertility in both men and women using supplementation. She talks a lot about coenzyme Q10, which is crucial for energy production in cells, which sounds really big and complicated, but know that every part of your body, all the messages that your body is sending, requires energy at the cell level. So if we aren't feeding our body properly, if our body is undernourished, we might not notice it on a whole body level, but on a cell level, our body is having to work so much harder just to keep us going throughout the day. And our body is always going to prioritize our survival over reproduction because that just makes biological sense. So studies published in Fertility and Sterility have shown that supplementation with CoQ10 have improved ovarian response and embryo quality in IVF treatments. But before you go and get the book and just get the list of supplements and start taking everything on that list, that's not really how supplementation works, and that would just be a waste of money. So anything that you are taking in addition to what you're already getting from your diet will be a waste of your money. It's not going to add extra benefits. There is a certain optimum level that your body wants and needs each day for optimum function and for fertility. So what I would recommend is go and see your naturopath or your doctor and get your blood results run. So they will look at the hormone levels of your body, but also the nutrient levels of your body as well. And then get them to assess what your levels are like and what you might need to supplement in, or maybe change your diet slightly to increase those levels to optimum. Just a word of warning though, I personally found my general doctor, so my GP, was looking at averages, not ideal. So for fertility, we really want those optimum levels, whereas the GP was looking at averages of the general population. So while I may have fell within the general population's average for things like iron, there is a different measure of what is optimum. So I found my naturopath was really looking for those optimum levels. You can also go to Fett's website, which will be linked below, and she shows you what you should ideally be looking for in each of those levels. So you can compare your own data with what is ideal and then work out where the gaps are and just supplement for the gaps. I also found on her website that she lists all the supplements that she recommends, including brands, which can be really helpful when you don't know where to start. So that will also be linked in the description box below. Please remember though, it's not worth getting yourself stressed over making these changes. Do it in a really moderate approach, take your time and be kind to yourself. This journey is hard and it might be long, and you need to find a way to look after yourself through it. If you enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy this one. And if you're looking for ways to decrease your stress while you're trying to conceive, I'd love to invite you to join me for one of my fertility yoga practices. There will be a few linked in the description box below. See you next time.